What's raging, gamers? Welcome to the season 9 launch of Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
We're back, season 9, episode 1.
That's insane, dude. I know. We're gonna tackle the Empire, which is the legacy media. You got us, your boy Chris Collins and HenricK the Wreck. Hey, man, we got such a jam-packed show for all the gamers tuning in live, whether it's Twitch, YouTube, or Meta. We love you, fam. But hey, ready to kick this show off to a bang, HenricK? You ready to rock and roll?
You know,
come on, bring the
do.
fire, bring the energy, baby.
You know what we do at the start of the show.
Come on now. All right, so let's get it. So WWE's taking over video games so hard, we've stopped asking about 100 men versus one gorilla and started wondering if one Dwayne "The Rock" Johnsons can smell what 5 Hulk Hogan is cooking. So spoiler, and this is the beauty about video games, we get to test these things out. It smells like flying elbow drops and protein powder.
Chill.
Shut your ass. Oh, I'm taking a rest. Oh, hello.
Oh my god. Hello. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
Come here.
I didn't mean this.
Hey.
He needs some milk.
That's right. Come on now. That's like everybody farming the character of like Sabrina Carpenter in Fortnite. You know what I mean? Like, you see that one character. It's like, I know we're breaking those terms of services, but like, we got to team up and we got to put the beat down on this guy. So let's see how the comments are like, because I'm sure they were very active around this video. Oh, hell nah. Hulk Hogan, we're coming for you. Yeah, pretty much. Or, yeah, you could have been this guy.
Yeah, he's looking up and seeing, oh no, it's coming.
I know that this reminds me. I don't know if you've seen those clips going viral where Drewski's in Jamaica right now. He was getting twerked on by these girls over there. This one girl like literally dropped down like, you know, Hulk Hogan's. We're doing on Drewski. I'm sure that's what Drewski's face looked like. And then we also have, oh God, yeah. You know what? I feel like this is when WWE was pretty epic.
Yeah.
Now
it's been a spectacle, right?
Definitely been very blockbuster. And I would say, you know, video games definitely helped extend, you know, that franchise to new frontiers that they would have never even imagined. But you know what's even crazy? Sometimes, HenricK, you know, we get these legendary trick shots, but like this time, this Call of Duty Warzone sniper hit was like so casual. You'd think he was like swatting a fly. I mean, not ending someone's digital bloodline. I mean, how are people this freaking good?
No way, that's a clip. That is I'm standing up.
Oh, mom, get the camera. Get the camera.
I like how he said, I'm standing up. That's how I get when I'm playing Madden sometimes. It's a bad habit. I don't know what that's all about. It's like as if I'm like trying to coach through the TV screen, but like that doesn't help me shoot straighter. It doesn't make the lob of the pass get any better. But
it's like, you know, when you're laying back and then all of a sudden you go up against a really sweaty team and you're like, oh, actually, I gotta like sit up for this one.
I know. Yeah, exactly. It's always when you're not thinking about it, you nail it. So obviously you get comments where I go, I stood up mid shit to applaud that one. Wow. He dropped the link log for you, my man.
Gotta do it for him.
And he goes, imagine every Hail Mary shot not recorded and how crazy those are. Very true.
Really though.
I mean, that's like probably my favorite thing on the PS5 once you upgrade from the PS4 is just spamming the share button or the option button, whatever the hell they call it nowadays. It's the one on the left side of the controller. It's so easy to record a 30-second clip. I freaking love it. And then, you know, he got reported after that one. Absolutely. It's that's a no-brainer.
How'd I die?
Yeah, come on. Really? A sniper from a helicopter? But, you know, get this. I mean, I do love an awesome driving simulator, and most gamers play Euro Truck Simulator 2 to relax and enjoy the scenic countryside deliveries, and then others treat it like it's Grand Theft Auto with an 18-wheeler. So, like, who needs road signs when you've got horsepower and poor impulse control?
now do it in real life.
No, HenricK, no, we're not doing that in real life. Stop it. You know, this is like would have been the perfect time. Well, actually, we're not going to say. I was going to say Clair Obscur. Maybe we need a little bit of that kind of magic so we can kind of reverse things, but it's actually the other way around because we're going to take back those words, HenricK. We do not want people driving like that erratically. Keep it in the video games if you like. But let's go right into the comments. When the biker hits your side mirror after almost merging into his lane, yeah, you know, some people.
Yeah.
Was it the biker's fault after all? I mean, there is that really cringy video out, you know, with the road rage incident in Oregon. I don't know if you saw that, HenricK, with the biker.
No, I did not see that.
Oh my gosh, this biker, you know, really mad, goes right up against a car and, you know, tries to curse him out and the guy sideswipes him and he's done. You know what I mean? You know, road rage is a real thing. You know, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. And then, the whole, sorry, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Hi, how you doing? Nice to see you. Cool, thank you. And
through here.
biker obviously shouldn't have existed at that very moment. So, yeah, you know what? It is the game's fault. Why would they just spawn him right there? At the worst time,
100%.
right?
Like you're making it more difficult for me to play the video game.
Exactly.
Come on, man.
It's not you, the driver. It's the game. HenricK the Wreck. Are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Oh, yeah. Let's get our next segment started before we get any delays like some other games that got delayed this week.
Oh, you had to do that already? You had to throw a little elbow jab?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This is a game by a team of 30 people, some of which are ex-Ubisoft developers. The story goes that the director of the game was bored at Ubisoft and wanted to do something different. So let's keep that in mind while we look at the game, starting first with the gameplay. The gameplay of Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is turn-based combat. This means you're exchanging blows with the enemies you encounter in an order that can change dynamically as the fight goes on. What sets Expedition 33 apart from the usual turn-based combat, however, is that you're staying active even during enemy turns. This is because you can avoid taking damage from enemy attacks by dodging or countering their attacks via parries. The result is a very engaging turn-based combat system where you not only build action points to cast spells, but you also have to stay on your toes during fights. Speaking of spells, each character has their own set of abilities ranging from melee to ranged or even to transform, and you will be expected to use multiple characters' abilities together to win fights, alongside building the characters properly. And by building, I mean the usual RPG stuff like allocating attributes, but also assigning passives via Pictos, passive abilities that can be picked up and equipped. Pictos abilities can eventually be learned to be equipped even without the Pictos, so it is a good idea to rotate them out. Altogether, this sounds like standard RPG affair with engaging combat, but the story plays a big part in the experience as well. The story of Expedition 33 takes place in a broken world where life expectancy has drastically decreased. There is a godlike being named the Paintress who each year wakes up and counts down one more year by painting numbers on a monolith. During this event, called a gamage, anyone of the age that is painted is erased from reality, a cruel fate for a doomed world. However, there is still hope. Expeditions are regularly sent out to try to combat the Paintress and put a stop to the cycle. You follow Expedition 33 as they attempt to put an end to the cruelty and bring hope to the world again. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
In a world where Final Fantasy has moved away from turn-based RPGs, that's where games like Expedition 33 come in and try to take that crown. And do you think that they managed to do it, Chris? What are your thoughts?
It's definitely a awesome new chapter in the JRPG world, I would definitely say. I mean, I just love the entire concept, the synopsis around this whole game. I mean, just think about it. I mean, what if death was on a countdown and you were next? I mean, that's kind of the premise. You have to have that mindset when you're playing this game. I mean, what if you had just 1 year left to live and decided to spend it fighting fate itself? I mean, would you trek across the sea to save your life and many others? I'm asking you, HenricK.
Oh, I mean, you're asking me, but you're the one that's actually older than me, aren't you, Chris?
Ah, shit. Wait, it would be my life going first. That's right. When the Benjamin Button is going on. You know what? I would fight for you. I definitely would, Henrik. What else do I got to lose, right? I mean, in Clair Obscur Expedition 33, you laid the last volunteers of humanity on a mission to kill the Paintress. I mean, she's such an odd, mysterious figure. That's what really draws you in right away. And you see that way off into the distance, you know, a number that is painted each year, and everyone of that age instantly dies. It reminded me a lot of Marvel's The Thunderbolts, you know, the Void. I mean, he could wipe you out in a brushstroke, and she's counting down.
Yeah, you could definitely see how this game was inspired by older JRPGs, because older JRPGs did the same kind of story concept all the time.
Yeah.
We're killing God. We're going up against something beyond maybe even our comprehension, and we know that we're maybe not going to survive, but we're still trying. And will we be successful? Who knows? Most likely, yes, but there will definitely be casualties along the way. And that's just the fate of the world as a whole in this one, because clearly so much of the population has died, because they're down now to 33 all the way from 100. So exactly. How many people have just been erased from reality throughout the years, and having to live with that every year, knowing, okay, the people who are of this certain age, they're just going to be gone.
Yeah, especially they
really
set the tone really good within like the first hour of the game, especially when you start to see the city life and the people of Lumiere. You know, they have to send the doomed and the dying across a surreal, dreamlike continent to stop her once and for all. I think it's really, really fascinating. You got this really bitchin' character, Gustav. He's a lone survivor. He's, failed expedition who's about to give up until he meets Luna, another fighter that drags him back into the fight, because if one person still stands, the mission continues. What I love about it, HenricK, is the storytelling, the writing. I mean, these aren't plucky teens with swords bigger than their trauma. They're adults. They're messy. They're flawed, and they're cracking under pressure of grief, loss, and metaphysical genocide, in a sense. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's very believable writing and acting, and the animation is very intricate and detailed as well for the characters' expressions. And like you were saying, that first prologue, it hooks you so well. Yes. It actually, I would say, in the first hour of the game, has done more than some games have done in 20 hours to make you care for the characters. And that's really crazy, because 20 hours is a long time to really build out characters. And if they were able to do more in 1 hour, I have to applaud that. That's amazing.
I feel like it's hard to fall in love with a certain RPG game if you can't fall in love with the story. You know what I mean? It's like, if I can't relate to these characters, then it's hard for me to even want to keep trekking along to this journey. It's like, all right, do this, put some attributes
even if the gameplay is good.
yeah, exactly. And that's where we got to talk about the combat. In Clair Obscur Expedition 33, it's like as if a turn-paced RPG had a panic attack mid-battle in the best possible way, I would say, HenricK. I mean, you've got your classic turn order and strategic planning, but don't get too cozy, because then suddenly you're dodging, you're parrying, or jumping over attacks like it's a rhythm game with consequences, because I found myself, making my beer go warm because I couldn't pound it while I'm drinking it, between turns, because if you blink, that boss will erase your party in one swipe. Because like the first couple hours, I was like, oh, I hope it's not this easy.
Yeah, it's like,
and then you get humbled real quick.
No, yeah, you really do. You really get humbled, because you go against some of those super bosses, and you're like, oh, now it actually wants me to dodge. Like, I am expected to dodge and parry, and if I don't, I'm just not beating this extra supplementary boss. It's just not happening. And it motivated me, and I'm sure it'll motivate majority of people to just get good, just get better. It's a skill issue. So get better, bro.
Bro. Yeah, and I think it's you're gonna fall in love with a lot of these characters because they got a lot of really unique gimmicks. You know, Gustav builds overcharge to unleash like an anime worthy finishers, and then Luna turns enemies into exactly. And then Luna has turns her enemies into spell enhancing smudges, and then Mael switches stances. I think that's probably going to be majority of every gamer's favorite go to, because you get to switch stances more than anybody I know, like 3 different stances. It's really, really badass. And if you thought, you got the perfect parries, right? I think that's one of the most satisfying feeling in a long time when it comes to, turn-based RPG, when you get your whole squad avenging up and they're got this synchronized beatdown that looks like a ballet of vengeance.
Yeah. And the great thing about that parry system too is it definitely took inspiration from, action adventure games like Devil May Cry and all that. You can definitely see why they said they took inspiration from that. And I applaud it because it does keep you on your toes, and it doesn't ever make you feel like you can just sit on your laurels and watch the action happen. You got to be invested and be a part of it.
No, it's so true, because I would say, HenricK, like Expedition 33's combat makes you feel smart and sweaty at the same time, and that's what I call art.
Yes.
It's awesome. I mean, every fight feels like a dance between a painter and a pinata, except you're the pinata and the paint is probably your blood, and you don't want to get too comfortable.
And you still have the classic RPG stuff, like you still build out attributes for characters that are scaled to whatever weapon you're equipping. You still have skills in a skill tree that you unlock.
Yes.
You can, mess around with those and try and see what kind of build you want to do for each character. And there's also they have this passive ability system called Pictos, where it's these items you pick up, and then after a few wins, you actually earn that ability as just something you can equip on anybody without even equipping the item itself. That it opens up. It sounds simple, but it opens up so much in terms of building out these characters, just the strength of them, and being like, okay, this character's ability of putting burns on their attacks synergizes with this other character that can then heal from a burn attack or consume the burn stacks to do more damage. Things like that. It all clicks in your head when you get a grasp of it, and it's beautiful.
I know it might seem like a headache at first when you start like reading through all the descriptions. You're like, oh my gosh, but trust me, you're going to want to like test them out a little bit, because these attack patterns with these bosses and these fights are tighter than your monthly budget. So you're definitely going to want to figure it out. But, I would say, with the art direction with Expedition 33, looks like an art museum got drunk off a fantasy novel and decided to cosplay as a fever dream. I mean, every landscape is absurdly gorgeous, I would say, HenricK. Yeah. I mean, like someone dared the developers to make you feel guilty for sprinting past a masterpiece.
It kind of reminds me a little bit about the art style of Elden Ring, where it's like these grandiose architectures and landscapes that you just see off in the distance. Especially when you go look at the monolith that has the big number on it, like that is something pulled straight out of the world of Elden Ring when you really think about it. And it's not a bad thing. It's actually a great thing, because Elden Ring has got a great art style. And
how did you think about the setting being set, in the 19th century French? French. What did I say? France.
It's interesting. I feel like that setting hasn't been touched that much in more recent years. Yeah. So it's a little refreshing, actually. We're not really in like Japan or something, or we're not even really in like some backwoods of the United States. No, we're in France. Or France inspired areas.
And that's why I love video games, because it's going to take you to places that you would have never even thought of, or maybe even possibly even dreamed of. And you're going to wander through places like the Island of Visages, or where the cliffs literally stare at you. Just no pressure, right? And then you got the Forgotten Battlefield, which some of those cutscenes were legendary. I mean, with some of the scenery is so hauntingly beautiful, you'll forget that you're stepping over skeletons from the failed expeditions before you. So one minute you're gazing at that indigo tree, you're shimmering like a disco ball at a spa retreat, and then next you're like underwater and somehow still not wet. I love this game. I don't know where it's going, but clearly, HenricK, Hollywood's listening, and they're going to be turning this thing into a movie. And I don't know if anything screams family blockbuster like emotional trauma, existential dread, and a magical lady. Yeah, right. Just a magical lady who paints your death with watercolor precision. Don't worry about it. But like, I'm just curious. Do you think that they can nail that? Cramming a 40-hour emotional roller coaster into 120 minutes of high concept chaos. I mean, will they be able to capture that magic?
Well, the thing is, it probably won't be 120 minutes. It'll be maybe more, maybe a little bit more, maybe 2.5 hours. They could maybe stretch it out to. And
so the extra 30 minutes would leave it enough room for the prologue to kind of get in.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not going to rush like 2 minutes on it. To wrap things up on this, Chris.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this game? Is it a pause or is it a repeat?
Yeah, what? I would tell you, HenricK, and the gamers out there, you got to grab your gear. You got to embrace the countdown and ask yourself, if death was inevitable, would you still fight for what's left? Hell yes, this is a repeat. I am very stoked about this game. I think it's fantastic. Wow, it's going to get really, really hard towards the end of the year to figure out what the game of the year is going to be, because there's so many standouts. Yes, you're going to want to play this game because first time around, I feel like you're going to miss a few things. And, there's so many. I mean, it's very linear. It's not really open world, but there are definitely platformings you can do. You can definitely go off course a little bit, go find some journals, go find out some of the, the past history, that builds upon this amazing story. And I think it's awesome. What do you say, HenricK?
Oh, this is a 100% repeat. This actually is so far my choice for game of the year.
Okay.
Of 2025. And I'd actually go as far to say this is going to be in my top 5 most favorite games of all time.
Wow. Hey, you heard it first. That's a hot take right there from HenricK the Wreck. But we want to know from you, the gamers, is Clair Obscur Expedition 33 a pause to play something else? It just didn't fit well with you. Or is it a repeat for endless fun? Let us know what's good. And for all the gamers that are joining us live, join the conversation. We want to hear from you because we ain't stopping anytime soon. We got so much left here on the Season 9 launch of Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Oh, yeah, because we got plenty to talk about. It's been a crazy week.
Oh, yeah. Let's get it, baby. Well, HenricK the Wreck, before we begin, we got a pretty awesome comment here from the real young one that says, "What's good, bros? I've been loving the content lately. Future Man just wanted to tap into the stream real quick. Pew, pew, pew." Thank you, my brother. See, always we love that. If you comment live during the show, you will be featured live on air, just like that beautiful lower third. So thank you for everybody always engaging with the show. So this is Patch Notes. So welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK the Wreck and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. Microsoft has officially raised the price of all Xbox Series consoles, and just in time for the holidays. Xbox games are confirmed to hit a jolly $80, because nothing says the season of giving like your wallet crying in 4K. I know. I mean, they say they blame the market conditions and the lingering Trump era tariffs, but gamers are blaming whoever thought the $80 was a good idea for anything that doesn't come with the GPU. I know. Pain. And let's see how well that news sat with the community. And spoiler, rage levels are approaching boss fight territory. So let's dive right on in before we get attacked for this. No, I'm just kidding. But hey, let's read it. $600 for a Series X is wild. The fact that I got it for $350 from Best Buy a year ago, starting to seem like an all-time deal. This will be the first console generation where those of us who bought our machines early with Black Friday deals, etc., got their best bargains. I don't see prices or deals happening anytime soon at this rate. Black Friday this year for gaming is gonna be rough. Absolutely insane to see that someone who bought a Series X in 2024 basically got a 50% discount. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Yeah, it's a real interesting choice, especially when feels like PS5 won this era of gaming. So
well, it definitely feels like you can understand like where Microsoft is coming from when they want to like raise their prices to $80 as much as I truly freaking hate it. But, you know, they have been dominating recently. I mean, it goes to show, especially when you look at like, you know, the PlayStation Store and they're showing like some of the more successful games in the month of April. And you got a majority of them being Xbox fronted games. You know, you could think about the Oblivion remastered and, you know, and then they brought the Froza, you know, the driving game, all that stuff. It's like, yeah, you know, they're seeing Nintendo do it for $80 to $90. Why can't we do it? But the console thing, I really can't comprehend it. I can't believe I'm even saying this, Henrik, but you might as well just get a PC at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting close to that pricing at that point. So
it's just wild to me. And then those are huge increases. I mean, $400 for a Series S is effing laughable. I mean, more than a 30% increase in price. Yeah, it's pretty wild when you have somebody, you know, spell it out like that to you. And then remember when consoles went down in price 5 years after launch? Pepper Ridge Farm remembers consoles, more like everything. You'd wait a couple months for a discount, but nowadays you buy before the next wave of inflation hits. Yeah, it's just amazing. I mean, they used to always say like electronics are the most obsolete shit in the world.
Oh, they are. They are. Everything just gets replaced the next year. And
well, why do I have to spend more for old shit?
It's not as much, but you know, when you're looking at like computers and phones, like those are really the biggest offenders of that, where they get replaced in the next like 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Consoles, same thing though. After 6 months to a year, that hardware is technically aged out.
Well, it comes coming. It's like I was telling you, Henrik. I was outside driving around these shopping units, and I saw at a dumpster, and someone left an Apple iMac. And I was like, oh, I got so excited. It was a 2009 one, right? I mean, it was like a freaking ancient relic. It was a dinosaur. I saw, you know, because by the time you try to open that thing up, nothing works anymore. They don't even have an app store. And then you go to try to do it. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm having such a freaking headache. And so I guess the point that I'm trying to get at, Henrik, is it's like if they move on from firmware and then you go and buy it when it's 5 years out at a more expensive rate, do they have to keep the longevity of these consoles around a little bit longer now because they're forcing that on consumers? Probably not. I mean, I know.
You got to think at the end of the day, these companies are out there for profit. They don't really care at the end of the day if you're getting a worse experience.
They
just you bought it very late in the end of the cycle.
Yeah, they just really want us to get our smart TVs and and get us really into cloud gaming and onto these mobile devices.
You to do that at this point. Just go buy Game Pass.
And then I love how expensive everything is getting. Not only basic needs like food and rent/mortgage, but hobbies too. But wait, at least the salary increase is due, a whole 3.5%. I am sure that will cover everything. And then a follow-up comment that reads, you got 3.5%? My company said, here's 2%. Thanks for doing the work of two people after we did layoffs. Be thankful you have a job. Yeah, it's just amazing how we can really extend prices. Very crazy, but you know, you just ask for a simple pay raise, it's like the end of the world. Armageddon. And then Nintendo was just the beginning, and I'm afraid we all knew this. Yeah, that's true. And anyone who thought this wasn't going to become the standard is a fool. Yeah, but I just wasn't expecting it to be so freaking fast. I mean, in 2023, Henrik, Microsoft actually changed their pricing to go from $60 to $70. So to see like from 2 years from now, another $10, what are we going to see another 2 years from now? You know, they're saying GTA 6 is supposed to be $100 just because they're $100. Everything else is supposed to be $100. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, good. As much as everybody wants to clown on EA Sports, they actually came out today and said that we will not merge our prices to be with these holiday prices that Microsoft is doing. They are going to keep to that $70 threshold.
I can applaud that.
I can applaud that a little bit in a sense, but $70 is still freaking too expensive.
Especially when you consider the fact that they're making the majority of their money definitely from microtransactions and not so much from the game sale itself.
But it's such a recycled game, though.
Put it up all the way.
It shouldn't even be worth $70.
It shouldn't be $70. You're right. It really shouldn't be.
We literally just talked about Expedition 33. Such a fantastic game. What was it priced at, Henrik?
$50. And it was on sale. It was on sale for the first week that it was out.
That's true. It was going for 45, and then you get mad and they still think that their game's worth $70. But people will still fork it out. And then the last comment we got here is, fear not, the rise in price will result in better quality of the games. Oh wait, they won't. And then I'm so happy as a consumer that I can shell out an extra $20 now from the original $60 and still get unfinished, unoptimized games for $80 now. And that's why I don't know why. When you read that kind of stuff, it just makes you feel like, they're really pushing for cloud gaming. Like, they are going to make these consoles so freaking expensive so that they really just kind of force you, the consumer, to be like, do I really need that PS6? Do I really need that next, jiving thing? If I have a really good, badass iPhone, whatever, can I just play it on the go? Do I really need the tablet? Like, what are we doing? But HenricK, with Xbox games hitting $80 and can someone explain the pricing chart? Like, is it based on the production cost? Is it the gameplay length? Or just whether the developers added a fishing mini game and called it expanded content? Because, they've been hyping that up in GTA 6. Hey, there's a mini game mode that might be a 3-versus-3 basketball mode. What? And more golf? Cool. So that's why it's justified for another $20 on top of the 80. Make it make sense, HenricK.
It's getting to the point with pricing of these consoles and the games themselves, when they're not in the used market, at least, or on sale, that it's almost not economical for a lot of people to even invest any money to get a console, which it sucks, because I would wish for a world where more people could play games and it would be more accessible. Because everyone should have the ability to do that, to experience art and culture in video games. But at the same time, maybe this is now the opportunity for the indie games to rise up and say, you know what? Screw your $80. We're going to charge anywhere between $10 to $50 and give you just as good of an experience. And if enough people realize that, maybe this will actually be the year of the indie game.
Maybe they might just change their ways. I don't know why my mind starts trending towards GameStop. My console. Yeah, like if I bought my console in 2020 and now that things are getting a little bit more expensive, I went to go turn it back in. Do you think they'd give me more money, or do you think it was still valued at the same price? Yeah, okay.
They're going to give you $5 if you're lucky.
Yeah, exactly. But as much as we're kind of like clowning Microsoft and really kind of being like, why now? And you're going to blame the Trump tariffs and stuff like this and yada yada yada. Let's be real. I mean, Nintendo and Sony have also announced plans to charge more in recent weeks. I mean, we discussed this back in season 8 in April, that Nintendo announced $450 Switch 2 console, a step up from the original $300 Switch, and also lifted the prices to $80 to $90. God, that just makes me so freaking angry. And then Sony is citing inflation and currency changes and said its disk drive free PlayStation 5 will become more expensive in Europe and 3 other countries effective April 14th. And let's not forget just, talking, consoles, HenricK. Think about the prices for the PlayStation Plus. I love it. I'm always constantly telling my buddies to get it. It's really cool. It allows people to download games and play against others online, and also rows in some countries. But it's making it really, really difficult to even want to game. I mean, just look at some of these charts right here. Look at this. I mean, look at some of these controllers. $80 for a controller?
Yep.
$80?
My favorite controller that I have currently is from Do, and they just said, it's not going to be possible for us to ship to the United States anymore because of all the tariffs.
Really?
You know how much I spent for this controller that I think I enjoy better than a Xbox controller, first-party controller, and even an Elite controller? I spent $40 on it.
Yeah. And that's how much a controller really should be costing.
It should be costing.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at this list right here, and I'm just like super amazed. And look at this one right here. Awesome graphic, by the way. I mean, especially when you consider the original Xbox. I'm blind, as you can see. I got glasses on, fam, if everybody's watching. But I mean, the price at launch was $299. I mean, 4.5 years later, went to $150, and then now 4.5 years later, from the Xbox Series S, it goes from $300 to an $80 rise. I mean, even the Xbox Series X went from $500 to $600 in 4.5 years. Make it make sense, fam. But like, I don't know. Do you, the gamers out there, feel like, you know, Microsoft will learn the hard way? Or do you just feel like they don't really even care anymore? I mean, they're just like more pushing for, you know, being the studio front and less about the console war. Let us know what's good. But
Henry, are there actually any games out there that you guys think are worth $80? Yeah, let us know.
It's not a whole lot. Shit.
But moving on, so we got some big news on the Apple front of things, because they're getting into gaming just as much as any other company wants to at this point.
Oh, yeah.
And a judge just dropped a legal nuke on Apple's App Store control. Effective immediately, Apple can no longer hoard fees from purchases made outside apps, and developers are now free to say, hey, buy this over there instead. We'll give you a little bit of a discount even, maybe, you know?
Yeah.
Biggest example being Epic, with Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney popping out of legal hypersleep to announce Fortnite is making its triumphant return to the US App Store this week.
But even though it's still crickets, though.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of crickets, though. It's supposed to happen. I'm like, what the hell's the update? Maybe he saw this. They're still holding them hostage. So who knows?
Potentially, yeah. You know, they got him in the back. They got it cooking.
Right.
So grab your pickaxes and overpriced skins. Let's see what gamers have to see about this digital jailbreak.
Yeah, I'm actually really curious to see what gamers have to say. Let's see what's going on. Let's see. There we are. Oh, it's Tim Sweeney again. He goes, no fees on web transactions. Game over for the Apple tax. Apple's 15 to 30% junk fees are now just as dead here in the United States of America as they are in Europe under the Digital Markets Act. Unlawful here, unlawful there. 4 years, 4 months, 17 days. Yeah, that's pretty wild. That's how long it's been. Since Fortnite has been on your iOS devices, unless you're an Android nerd like HenricK over here. And then
don't come at me just because I got the superior device.
Okay, knock it off, girl. Y'all got so many strings I could pull on, girl. Come on now. But then also we get Judge is also referring Apple and Finance VP Alex Roman to the U.S. Attorney for potential criminal prosecution due to their contempt of court. Incredible fumble by Apple, so hell-bent on screwing over developers that they were willing to risk a criminal case rather than budge an inch. And so as you can see here from this screenshot, Apple willfully chose not to comply with the court's injunction. And that's why the judge is fed up. Judge Gonzalez Rogers. And so let's go and keep this moving. The next comment we got here is, now this is a victory royale. Yeah,
there
dance
you go. Yes.
Dance, buddy, dance. And hard to put into words how huge this is. Epic really did it. Apple's monopoly on payment processing is finally over. And you also get Epic Games declared war on Apple and won. Epic CEO fought the $3 trillion tech giant all alone and refused to back down. Now a judge has ruled that Apple could face criminal charges. How this David versus Goliath victory affects the developers worldwide, there's a twist. I think that, well, why do we always have to do the David versus Goliath thing? That's like one of the worst comparisons ever. And the last comment, quote unquote, or what is this guy? He put a quote and then does, oh, no, there it is. A quote, agreed to not make any money and I'll let you cover the bandwidth cost to host the downloads, end quote. Doesn't really seem like a peace offering. And then charge for the damn server and hosting space and bandwidth and not every single transaction that occurs in the app. Epic aren't saints, but Apple is definitely not the good guy here either. Yeah, it's pretty wild to consider, you know, that there's billions and billions of, you know, Apple devices around the world. And HenricK, I mean, so now that Apple's been told that they can't gatekeep the App Store like it's a VIP club, what does this mean for the rest of the gaming industry? Are we just one Fortnite victory dance away from total chaos in the mobile marketplace, or are we just trading one digital landlord for another? Because I do recall last season we had a Reddit debate, a thread that was introduced where people were really sick and tired of all these PC gaming launchers.
Yes.
Now it's coming to the phones.
Yeah, that is definitely a thing, that on PC, you know, the Epic Games Store is not really that profitable, especially when you compare it to its biggest competition, which is Steam, which is very profitable.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really just down to the fact that the PC demographic doesn't like buying stuff not on Steam.
Yeah.
So, maybe it'll be different demographic on mobile, because it is different people who are typically going to their phone rather than a computer to play a game or even a console. So maybe it'll be more profitable, but we'll really have to keep an eye on that because
I get homies
it might
that
not be.
I have homies today that still connect their old PS3 controller to their iOS device just to play Call of Duty on that tiny little screen. I thought we moved on, from the whole, burning our eye sockets out, looking at a 4.5-inch screen. But clearly gamers want this to happen. And as a part of the ruling, the judge says that Apple cannot impose any commission or any fee on purchases that consumers make outside of an app. And it also restrict developer style, formatting, or placement of links for purchases outside of an app, block or limit the use of buttons or other calls to action, and so much more. And I know Tim Sweeney, like that last comment, was kind of suggesting that, he was saying, hey, listen, look, we're going to bring the Fortnite back to the US App Store. Still kind of crickets. We don't know what's really going on. But then he also did have, a tweet out that was saying, hey, I'm offering a peace proposal, from Epic. If Apple extends the court's friction-free Apple tax-free framework worldwide, we'll return Fortnite to the App Store worldwide and drop current and future litigation. Right. Drop the current and future litigations on the topic. So yeah, we'll have to see what's good. I mean, in many cases, Apple takes a 30% cut of purchases made in the apps, and Gonzalez Rogers, that's the judge, back in 2021 ruling forced Apple to allow developers to point to alternative payment options. And I know you could probably explain this a little bit better than me, HenricK, but I know some of the other drama was, the toolkits that Apple was really providing. They basically made them have to use, a lot of their own in-house tools, and that really didn't kind of sit well with developers.
Especially when you have a team of developers that are used to their own, maybe even in-house sometimes toolkits.
Yes.
It isn't very viable to say, no, you got to use ours. Otherwise, it's not going to be on there, because you then got to train everyone to learn how to use the Apple specific toolkit. And it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Just make it easy.
Yeah, it's going to get really interesting real quick. I mean, especially considering how, we got the, the Xbox Game Pass has been, circulating, the Xbox Store as well. And so that really definitely opens up a lot of, avenues for other people to explore, like potentially an app coming around at Epic Game Store on your phone. It's going to get kind of nutty real soon. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, especially when you think about the success of the Steam Deck. I mean, doesn't this get Steam and Valve excited? They're like, yeah, hell yeah, man. We'll definitely bring Steam to you now. But then again, we're going to have to see what's good. Do you see this as a promise in the industry that, Epic for now has won this case against Apple? Because Apple has come out to appeal. So, this fight isn't over as of yet. Do you see this as a good thing for the industry, or do you think this is just really scummy and bad? And oh my God, this is the whole PC numerous launchers all over again. Let us know what's good. But hey, let's have some fun right now, because Rockstar Games just hit the brakes on Grand Theft Auto 6, pushing the release to May 26th. 2026. Yeah, I know. Another freaking year. It was supposed to drop in fall 2025, but apparently Rockstar needs more time to deliver the level of quality you expect and deserve, which loosely translates to, we saw your memes and we panicked. All right. So since the first trailer dropped in December 2023, it's been radio silence. And now we're wondering if GTA 6 will live up to the hype, or will it release before the next Ice Age? Wait, is there an Ice Age coming? I mean, I know that they're bringing back Dire Wolves and stuff. Can you just get us Grand Theft Auto 6? But rest assured, gamers, Rockstar Games has released new footage of Grand Theft Auto 6.
It does look very detailed. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, but I think the problem with it is it's like, you know, it looks so cinematic. And I think that's the problem that I have with it right now. And even when you watch like the longer trailer too, you know, they had to come out like 2 days later and they're like, no, it was all shot on a PS5, which definitely makes it sound like they have a really massive marketing deal with Sony to really be pushing Grand Theft Auto 6 to be like best played experience on there, because you're not seeing anything showing up with the Switch. Not going to be on the PC. Not in the beginning, I don't think. Not in the beginning, because they probably don't want the modders to come in and like ruin the experience. And, you know, they're like, we don't want you just messing around with our game. Like, play it as is. But I think that's my biggest problem. Like, when I'm talking with some of my friends, we've all kind of came to that same agreement. Like, yeah, it looks awesome. Trust me. I think the hype is very much real, but it's like, can I see something like beyond just like, you know, the beach and booty shaking? Because that's how everybody's a gooner nowadays, it seems like. Gosh, it's just ridiculous. But let's go ahead and see what gamers have to say before someone tries to mod Grand Theft Auto 6 into existence. Let's check out this comment right here. Are we going to get a flood of announcements now for games releasing this year in October and November? What do you say, Henrik?
I could definitely see that it maybe gets delayed again. That would be my take on things. Is, you know, May will
you see it going into 2027
really quickly, and it could be delayed even more.
I think that was one of the worst mistakes Rockstar Games ever did. It's like, you know, what we make fun of Bethesda with Elder Scrolls 6.
Oh yeah,
like,
of course.
There's really no need to do that kind of style of hype. But then again, you know, Fortnite would actually argue with my take, because they have received over 475 million views across platforms since Tuesday. So yeah, the hype is definitely very much real, but, you know, come on now. How long? You know, come on, we have a fever dream building up. And then what an odd way to announce the release date. They can't possibly know it will be ready for then. It's over a year away. Yeah, it was kind of funny at the time. I mean, you have to take into account this was from 2 days ago. The trailer 2 didn't even drop. It was just like, hey, sorry, we screwed up. We wanted to drop it in the fall, but like, read our message and we'll see you next year. Like, what are we doing? Yeah, that was very, very strange. And then a great man once said, shit, here we go again. And all he had to do was follow the damn release date, Rockstar, with, I like how they say, sorry, this is later than you expected. Well, no, it's later than you announced. And we're sorry that you thought what we told you was true. Yay! Cheers for that. Oh, sad us. And then I got excited, then saw the year. I know. I think a lot of us at first kind of read that wrong. It was like, man, what? Holy cow. Like, that's freaking awesome. And then, dude, say for a split second, I was trying to like, they're dropping it in a couple weeks. I think a lot of us were hoping that was the case. I mean, that would have been
2026.
That would have been legendary.
No.
That would actually been
that emoji of fading out of existence.
I mean, think about how stacked that would have been. I mean, you got Elden Ring, Night Rain that's going to be coming out pretty soon.
That's true,
you know, that would have been such a
big month already.
Yeah, exactly. And then last, they couldn't even throw a few crumbs of screenshot for us in that post. Rockstar be like, sure, adds a shark card picture. That would have been so funny if they actually did do that. Imagine if they're like, all right, sorry for, you know, no trailer for now, but, you know, check out our micro content coming into existence in the near or not so near future. But sure, the Grand Theft Auto 6 delay announcement wasn't exactly flashy, HenricK. I mean, more like a quiet text that said, running it late. Sorry, guys. But honestly, are we all in the same boat that, like, would you rather wait a year or pay $80 to beta test a glitchy mess where your car could possibly spawn upside down, or maybe the NPCs doing a moonwalk through the walls? I mean, where do you stand on this? It kind of sounded like you were kind of hinting that you just not really vibing with how Rockstar's approaching this.
Well, you know, I think it's going to be a great game, and I would rather them not just release it when it's not ready. If they feel they need the extra time, like I said, even if it gets delayed another time, that's fine. You know, I'm not trying to buy in too much into the hype, because I don't want to be disappointed. I know what happens when the hype gets built up so much.
But they said fall 2025. Now they have an actual day. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I thought we were a part of, you know, this industry wanted to cut back on crunch time. Don't you feel like it's more of like they're kicking their ass in the hind gear a little bit more now that they're like, okay, we told people a day now.
And maybe this is them combating crunch time. You know, maybe they might
putting
have
more
it
pressure on their
already.
developers.
I mean, they might actually have it already by fall if they really tried, but maybe now they don't have to worry as much, you know, to try to get it out before that time and make sure that's good to go, ready for prime time. Maybe they'll have that extra, what is that, like 5 months, 6 months to just make sure that it's all polished for release. And then when we get the game, it won't be a Cyberpunk situation.
Yeah, I mean, they're clearly spending a ton of money. I mean, let's do it like this. Look at this. GTA 6 has taken longer to develop and cost more than it took to build the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. It cost $1.5 billion US. 6 years to build. You got GTA 6 with $2 billion US. That's the estimation cost. And it takes 13 years, full production of 8 years, and still going. But clearly the hype is real. As I was saying during the comments, you know, it received over 475 million views across platforms. And for comparison, the first trailer, which was actually a YouTube exclusive, under the same window, received 93 million views. But if you want to put it into a film context, check this out, gamers. Deadpool and Wolverine trailer that debuted in the first 24 hours was 365 million views. And then you got, you know, Pedro Pascal. Everybody's excited to see him in the Fantastic Four. The First Steps debuted to more than 200 million in the first 24 hours. So when you see these kind of numbers coming from Rockstar Games, yeah, you know, this might be one of the biggest video game launch of all time. So you better nail it freaking right. I don't want to see no freaking day one patch for $100 game if that's truly the rumored case. You know what I mean, Henrik?
No, 100%. Yeah, it should just work at launch, especially when first impressions are going to really matter for this game. If it comes out in a glitchy mess, that's all the memes are going to be about, guys. Like, it's just going to be GTA 6 is glitchy as hell.
Yeah. No, I mean, this does a lot of wonderful things, you know, Grand Theft Auto has done, especially in the music industry. I think what's really awesome highlight is in the trailer's featured song, it was titled Hot Together by the Pointer Sisters. You know what's so incredible about this, Henrik? Spotify says that the stream of that song soared 182,000% since its release.
Wow.
So like
That's
GTA games feature, right, but like over the years, GTA games have featured music heavily via their in-game radio stations. There's even rumors that they're going to possibly implement podcasters into the mix. I don't know how that's going to work. Are they going to add like this live element into their online play? I would assume, because I don't know how that would work in the story mode of GTA 6. I really don't know, but I mean, it's been featured in radio stations, missions, and cutscenes, you name it. And so the company is believed to have spent north of $1 billion on its development. I think it's more closer to $2 billion, like that tweet was suggesting. And you know, just with GTA 5 alone, they have grossed nearly $10 billion since it launched over a decade ago. So yeah, Rockstar Games wants to make sure that this is right. And I know a lot of us are very excited to return back to Vice City, the GTA's universe version of Miami. So yeah, it's going to be really freaking cool. So mark your calendars, May 26th, 2026. So are you still hyped? Do you think it's cool? Are you like HenricK, where you're like, nah, it's not coming out anytime soon. Don't bank on it. It's going to be like 2027. Let us know what's good. But hey, end the show off with a bang, HenricK. We got a really fun conversation in store for y'all.
Oh yeah. Reddit's back on its nostalgic soapbox. And this time, a gamer asks, gamers 30 and plus, what's something from back in my day that younger gamers today wouldn't understand? Cue the digital rocking chairs, because the responses are a trip down memory lane, full of rage quits, memory cards, and blowing into cartridges like it was CPR, because we did have to do plenty of that back in the day.
Yeah, I probably tongued it a few times too. It's so nasty when I think about it. So, God, those Nintendo 64s, somebody told me it worked.
Well, let's see.
The toothpaste.
Oh no, the toothpaste trick.
Yes. Oh man.
Well, let's see what gamers had to say
Yes.
about what they think younger gamers would not understand.
Right. Let's get right on into it. Cleaning the wheels for your mouse balls. Oh, that yes, man.
Yes.
Out of context, that was weird. Yes. Back in the day, there was no laser on this mouse.
Yeah,
There was
I
actually-
distinctly remember playing this game called Tribes 2. You know, it was very much they call it a Z-axis shooter because you're just aiming all over the place.
Yep.
And being in the middle of a game, being like, "Oh no, I can't reach this guy." I look underneath. I pop open the track ball of
Yeah,
the
you gotta
mouse
spin
real
it.
quick, and
You
I
gotta
see,
spin the
oh
dial.
no, it's all dirty. And then I see that the little wheels inside the mouse
Yeah,
are
there's
all
like
dirty.
three
So I have to go
wheels.
grab a Q-tip,
Yep.
clean it out, and then put it all back together. And now
Or-
I can finally game.
Or you
again.
have to scrape it hard enough with your fingernails. Do anything you can. I mean, it's amazing
Yeah.
what like piled up dust can do.
Yeah,
to-
really.
To your mouse. And then also get comments like this: getting demo discs in gaming magazines. I used to play the
True.
same level in cool borders all day. Yeah, you know, I used to remember. I don't know if I did the whole gaming magazine thing, but definitely remember when the PS1 came out, they had a pretty awesome like demo disc that used to feature like 10 or 15 games on it. I remember it had Tony Hawk Pro Skater on it, and we never bought the game, but we always constantly keep playing the same warehouse, you know, map over and over and over and over again. And yeah,
Good map.
those are some and those are some really good memories. Just not vibing with the price hike. Like,
Yeah, I guess not, you know.
I know that they're like right here in LA, they're about to do a Tony Hawk Pro Skater music concert. You know, they're bringing the Adolescents
okay.
out, Lupe Fiasco. I think I heard Danny Brown and a bunch more. So hey, I mean, they're really trying to live up to that hype. But then you also get buying a game and basing that purchase pretty much entirely on the box art and the description. Okay, that's
Yep.
really funny because I think that's a very real thing. But let me switch it up a little bit and throw this at you, HenricK. Was there a box art that you totally fell in love with and then you played the game and it was complete ass? Is there something that you can think of on the top of your mind?
Man, that's a tough question.
It's kind of a tough one. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
let you marinate on that one a little bit.
Maybe I remember renting a game called Chameleon Twist based on the box art, and I was like, I don't get this game at all. That was on the N64.
Gotcha. I know. I don't really have an answer for right now for that one. I just a random thought. And then we didn't have streamers and the wide availability of the internet to completely kill any discovery or secrets the games had, to the point that insane rumors would start at school because no one could disprove it. I'm not sure I want to know how many collective hours were spent trying to unlock Luigi and Super Mario 64 based off increasingly elaborate setups from the school playground. Yeah, you know, that's been definitely a big complaint here and there. I don't know. I feel for that, but then I also don't, because, you know, there's definitely been some times where you're playing like God of War, or I remember, gosh, there was one mission in Hogwarts Legacy, one of the freaking puzzles, you know, and it's like, it's so easy when you think about it, but you forget that you have all these magic spells and you don't use them all because you're so focused on fighting that you go to YouTube and then you feel super stupid in the end. And it's like, yeah, maybe you need to. It's a skill issue. I know, HenricK. I beat you to it before you could say it, okay? And then blowing into your cartridges, wiping a CD on your shirt if it freezes on the startup, writing the cheats on the back of your notebook, buying gaming magazines with unhinged print ads, still traumatized by the Fishman edit. See, man. And last, Channel 3. Oh, Channel 3.
Yep,
I had to
Channel
daisy
3.
chain my NES to the VCR, press play on my old tape, then pause the movie. My family thought I was a wizard when I got an N64 and discovered the RCA to coax adapters. My parents always think I'm a genius when I stick that HDMI into my TV. So I don't think a whole lot has changed from back in my day to the youth today. But HenricK, if you have, but I guess the thing is, HenricK, if you never had to blow into a cartridge like you were giving it mouth to mouth, as you were suggesting, did you even grow up gaming? I mean, I guess that's the real question.
I mean, it's just different eras, really. You know, we grew up in the era where we did have to do that a lot. I even distinctly remember, like I was saying, with Chameleon Twist, having to rent that game, going into
there you go, renting
either
games,
a Hollywood Video or a Blockbuster, and seeing just a couple, like probably 3 or 4 aisles actually of just games to rent from across a few different consoles and being like, okay, what do I want to get? And when my parents being there with me saying, okay, pick out something and you can rent it for the weekend.
Right.
And then renting it for 3 days and being very frustrated at the game for the 3 days because it's either really difficult or way too long to finish in 3 days.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, why did I make this mistake?
Yeah.
Why? I would say back in my day, if I were going to be talking like this, because I don't feel old at all, but we didn't need 40 gigabyte day one patches. Okay, and let's just start off from there. I mean, just to make sure that our characters' eyeballs didn't explode during the intro cutscenes. Okay, games just worked straight out the box, or they didn't. Maybe we just blamed ourselves, not the developers. But then, you know, you could ask like any young gamer out there right now, HenricK, what comes to mind when you say yellow, white, and red? They're going to probably say a Pokemon evolution, probably. Not the sacred
probably
ritual.
something like that. Or
right.
Ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise?
Yeah, right, exactly. Not the sacred ritual of connecting your console to a TV like you were defusing a bomb. Yes, the glory days. And then I just don't get, I guess the other thing that I don't think that young gamers do as often as we did back then, but like just printing out pages of GTA cheat codes like we were preparing for the SATs, or spending an entire birthday gift card on the Game Shark just to make Pikachu hit harder than a freight train. I mean,
or
kids,
guidebooks. I still have a couple of guidebooks, and they've got great art in them. Some of them even came with posters, and you just don't get that now. Now with games, you look up what you got to do, and then that's it. You don't get any experience of opening up a book, a sacred text, you could call it, of what to do next.
Right. Yeah, I mean, kids today will never know the true thrill of cheating offline. So like, I think that's kind of some of those things that I'm thinking about. But yeah, it's definitely freaking wild. But is there something that we're missing that, you know, us millennials out there like, hey, what are these young whippersnappers don't understand that we had it great going on? Let us know what's good. But man, this has been such a great ride, such an awesome time during our season 9 launch of Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. And we want to thank everyone for always tuning in live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. And just want to take a moment. This is my QR code to my YouTube channel. Hit the like, share, and notification bell so you never miss a live show.
And you see that QR code, so bask in its glory, because that is my YouTube channel's QR code. So go ahead and give that one a scan. Go check out the content there. There's all sorts of videos just waiting to be watched. Go leave me a comment. I'm looking out for them, and I will respond.
That's right. Hey, but we can't thank you guys enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will see you next week, fam. Peace.
See ya.